Joe Wright, you are correct. I was pouring a quick one, a quick gin and tonic. Welcome one, welcome all. Happy to have your company tonight. It is 9 p.m. and we're live, I think. We're live. Hello, can you hear me? Welcome Lior, welcome Maureen, welcome Fairy Dust Sunshine. We've got Anne Comer, we've got Laura Lawler, Tina Davis, Penny Legate, Marcia Toms, Fizzy, Kath Cross, Joe Wright. You said the countdown's a bit like New Year. Oh, just probably a little bit less. Although New Year's always a anticlimax. Hey Helen, hey Janine, hey Henrietta, hey Shelley, hey Deborah, hey Raspberry Mojito Girl. Who have we got here? Hello from Canada, it's Digital Dreambot. We've got Francoise, we've got Gabrielle. Gabrielle, I'm doing very well, thank you. How are you doing? So Unique gets so excited with the countdown. Oh, I'm glad So Unique. I get a bit excited. I've started it a little bit earlier. The reason is, right, let me talk to you about the countdown. The countdown came on automatically. You know when I sometimes do premieres of YouTube videos, and what happens with that is you can set a YouTube video, so you can upload a YouTube video and it'll just go straight on. But what you can do is you can set it as a premiere, so it tells people when it's good. So it's already uploaded, but it'll just tell you when it's going to come on, so you can kind of schedule it for that. And that means you can also get a live chat. And what happened is on the first ever premiere that I did, it kind of put this random countdown on, and I was like, I love this countdown. So I decided to just take the countdown and put it on my live ones. But with the premieres, this is really boring, but with the premieres, it doesn't show back when someone then watches it again. But with these live ones, the countdown shows, and everyone's a bit like, I want to watch it straight away. Why have you given me a 2-minute countdown? So I've shortened it. So yes, that's a very boring story for you. Hi Kim Collins, hello. Deborah says my hair looks pink. Does it? Do I look a bit pink? I haven't dyed it, I promise you. Anne Collard, welcome Anne Collard. You're joining the live for the first time and you're from Grimsby as well. Whereabouts are you from, Anne Collard? You're over in Wales now. Hope it is it's all good in Wales. Sarah Parsons says you're looking good tonight. Thanks, Sarah Parsons. Richard Miller's in the house. Hey, Richard. Thank you for all your comments before. Ryan Shaw, he says I look really well. Oh, thanks, Ryan Shaw. Do I look okay? It's a work in progress. Sometimes I'm getting to that point now where I'm looking in the mirror and I'm like, oh, I'm haggard. I don't know if any of you have ever heard of this, but I actually got Botox. You've obviously heard of Botox, but I actually got Botox about a month ago, or 2 months ago, actually. But it wasn't cosmetic Botox. It was for my jaw. So I had Botox in my jaw because I really grind my teeth at night. My dentist was like, oh, you're a grinder at night. I was like, oh, that was your father. But I heard that Botox in your jaw was helped for it. And when I got this Botox, the guy was like, oh, we have a bit left. Do you want it anywhere else? And I said no. I was like, no, thanks. Because I kind of thought to myself, they're a bit, Botox I imagine was a bit like Pringles, you know, once you pop you can't stop, and I was a bit worried that if I start getting Botox cosmetically, then I would get addicted to it, so I said no, and now I'm kind of waking up some mornings going, why didn't I get it? Why didn't I get it in my frown lines? So yeah. Dawn says she's joining the live for the first time. She feels at home, recognises so much people. Yeah, Nadia has sent so many people over. Nadia and Mark, I should say. So welcome. Thank you. Thank you for coming over, and you are helping me grow this this channel, Nadia's kind of given me a kick off the starting block, and now I'm trying to kind of organically grow it. So there's people that I think have come over from my Twitter. There's obviously loads of people who've come over from Nadia and Mark's channel. So welcome, thanks for joining. And there are people over just hopefully from random. YouTube's probably throwing stuff out to them right now. If you are here, if you are new, cheers, welcome. I wanted to explain, thank you very much, Penny. I wanted to explain that one of the things that I'm going to be doing weekly is YouTube say you should always have a kind of a set thing. So I've decided Tuesday nights at 9 is going to be our set live. I'm going to do that as much as I can every week. Every Tuesday there's going to be a couple of topics and then a weekly check-in with all of you. So at the end of this, we'll have a kind of interactive chat, but the topics before, we'll do a couple of topics. Some might be topical, some might be random things, but I also like the fact that you can sometimes dictate it and it can go wherever. Anne Collard says, I'm over from Nadia and Mark, but I remember you being great fun as the warm-up on Loose Women. Oh, great. That's nice, Anne. When was that? Obviously, it wasn't probably this year, unless it was the start of the year. Kim says you don't need Botox, perfect just the way you are. Oh, well, thank you very much, Kim. And I'm making, everyone's just saying, we love Pringles. So, yeah, everyone's going, oh, I really want some Pringles now. I don't know who I'm looking at here. I'm just pretending there's other people here with me. And, oh, you saw me on Nadia and Mark's picking out aftershave from Mark. Yeah, that was in Christmas time. Nadia was like, you smell great. Can you come and find an aftershave for my husband? So yeah, Tuesday at 9, pretty much around then. So if you go on my channel, you'll see on my little artwork, I've added a little sticker, a little star sticker, and it says live show every Tuesday night. So yeah, that's going to be our regular thing. I'm going to try and keep regular things. I also want to say thank you to everyone, whether you're on here or not, or whether you're watching this back, who said such lovely comments about my latest video. It's very kind of you. If you haven't watched it already, it's one called The Lucky Ones. And it's a piece I wrote a few years ago, actually, and I tweaked it slightly. And I recorded a bit of a piece to camera, and you were also nice. Yeah, I've read through all the comments, and yeah, so thank you so much for that. It was something that I was really appreciative of you replying to, because yeah, when you sometimes put out some things that are kind of more serious, I guess, you're a bit more nervous about doing it. So I'm going to try and basically what I said to Nadia is I am currently throwing spaghetti at the wall, the metaphorical spaghetti, and I'm seeing what sticks. And yeah, so I'm not gonna lie, some things I put out there, they might not be that great, but that is apparently the beauty of YouTube. And it is the beauty of being able to go, well, yeah, that might have been a bit shit, but let's move on to the next one and do something else. No one's died, who cares? Whatever. So I'm very glad that that the majority of you loved it. Raspberry said it's very emotional, beautifully read and written. Thank you, Sarah Fox. Thank you, Penny. Oh, you're very, Michelle, it made you cry. I'm sorry for making you cry, but also slightly pleased. I know that's a bit sickening. It's like, oh, it made people cry. Yes. Because I do like writing, actually. I write quite a bit. So yeah, I'm going to be doing more of those. I might do a kind of like talking head series where they're kind of like piece to cameras, monologues that I've written. They won't all be serious. But yeah, and Fairy Dust Sunshine says, I've loved all your lives. Well, Fairy Dust, the challenge is on now. Every Tuesday, I'm going to be here as much as I can. And yeah, so please do join me. It's going to be a regular thing, like a Tuesday night show, Leap It Live. And at the end, I think we should all have a little check-in and see what we do. Oh, have you seen the WAP video? Maureen hated the WAP video. But Louise says, oh my God, we were talking about that WAP song at work. Certainly variety on your channel. It's so funny because I had so many people being like, oh, I don't like this. I didn't make the WAP video. I just watched it. And my friend Craig, we will be doing more live with Liam Friends, by the way. I spoke to Craig this week and Kate, and we're going to do some more live ones of those. But yeah, he was like, have you seen it yet? Everyone's talking about it. All the kids are down. It's the WAP video. So if you haven't seen it, Craig and I watch it. And it actually, a lot of it, what we were meant to do is we were meant to watch the video and then stop it like at certain points and give commentary. But we were so transfixed. It was a bit like a magic eye puzzle for me. I was just kind of looking at these like half naked women in the video doing some quite sexual things. And I was just like, so we didn't end up we didn't end up giving much commentary, but it's quite funny to watch two openly gay men sitting there going, what on earth? And it's actually really funny because there's a few people that have clearly come across it elsewhere, and they're having a go at me saying that that I'm not, you know, respecting women's rights. And I'm like, it's just a bit of a joke, guys. Calm down. How are we all though? We will check in towards the end actually of the live with you as well. Dawn says the Mr. and Mrs. Was so funny. Would love to see you do more of them. Yeah, I'd love to do more. There's no reason why we can't, I guess. I need to start texting around some of my friends and see about doing them. I thought also about doing maybe one with Kay and Nadia, more like a Ms. and Mrs. but a friendship version. So yeah, Leo Vibe, can you do another paranormal joint live thing again? I think that's something towards Halloween that we should probably do. That will be something. Right, first thing I want to talk about, well, the second thing after the whole live chat thing is it's a bit, well, it is serious. So today, it feels a bit weird doing it today because the anniversary of his death is on the 12th. But for those of you who don't know, it is the 6th of, it is the 6th of, bear with me, let's just remove that. This is the young man I'm going to be talking about. It's the 6th of October today. It took me a while to get out. And yeah, this guy that you just saw is a guy called Matthew Shepard. And Matthew Shepard was a young guy who lived in Wyoming in America, over in Laramie, a place called Laramie. And he was an openly gay American student. He was 21 years old. And it was 22 years ago to this night of October the 6th in 1998 that actually Matthew, an openly gay man, was actually murdered for being gay. And the reason I want to talk about this is obviously because it's the anniversary of his of that night. But I came across Matthew, so I was born in 1990, and obviously I knew nothing about this. I didn't know who he was. Maureen says, you remember him, okay? Laura remembers him. Amazing. Well, I didn't know who he was, obviously, because I think I must have been 8 at the time. And but a few years ago when I was in Manchester, I did some work with an amazing theatre company that I'm still doing work with called Hope Theatre Company. with a guy called Adam Zane, who is a dear friend of mine. He's amazing. And we went around schools, local schools, and we spoke to them about using the word gay as an insult. You know, when kids go, oh, that's so gay, that's so gay. And we went there and primarily about bullying and homophobic bullying. And Matthew was one of the people that we spoke about. So I really learned a lot about this guy. And it was so sad. And as I said, it's 22 years ago since what, for anyone who doesn't know, basically two of the murderers, guys called Aaron McKinney and Russell Henderson, were they met Matthew at a bar, a local bar, and they were drinking whatever, and they pretended to be gay. They actually pretended to be gay and they befriended Matthew. They weren't gay. They were extremely homophobic. And Matthew was openly gay, but obviously it was 1998 at the time. In America, it was different times. He was openly gay. And these people just had such a terrible view of it. But they befriended him and they offered to take him home. And they weren't drinking at the time. It was testified afterwards. And what happened is they basically befriended Matthew, this young man, and he got in his truck, but they didn't take him home because that's where they offered to take him. They actually took him to a fence over in just on the outskirts of Laramie, and they beat him up. They did what they call pistol whipping, where they just beat him with their gun, and they tied him to this fence, and they pretty much, took his shoes, they robbed him, they absolutely it was awful what they did. And apparently what happened is they beat him so hard, they then tied him to the fence and they left him for dead. And he wasn't found until the next morning. And the next morning, there was a cyclist, I think, who was cycling past. And at first, he didn't think that Matthew was a person. He thought, because he was so mangled, he actually thought it was a scarecrow. And it was only until he kind of stopped and double took that he saw that Matthew was actually still breathing. So he'd been beaten so hard that he realized it was a human, and he'd been left there all night in the freezing cold in October, and he was still breathing. I think the film that you're all talking about on this chat, there was a film about this, and it was called The Laramie Project, I think, or there is also one called I think the Matthew Shepard story. Anyway, this cyclist came and he said that Matthew's face was just covered in blood, and it had all kind of hardened rock solid. And one thing that struck me about the story is, and you can read it, it's all online, is that there were his face was completely full of dried blood, apart from 2 lines down here where he'd been crying all night. And it was a real kind of, I mean, every time I think about the story, it's so sad, but it was a real awakening. This made back in 1998, and some people on this chat, including I think Maureen, who said, and Laura as well, remember this happening back in 1998. It made huge shockwaves around the world, and it was really the first time that people started to kind of discuss hate crime, or kind of take this gay hate crime seriously. They did find the people who did it. Francoise is asking. What happened is these two, Russell and Aaron, went off and they went and beat up, I think, an Hispanic guy as well. And because they did that, they got tracked by the police, and they found Matthew's credit cards and some of his belongings. And they then were able to track that these people were the ones that attacked Matthew, and he died. He fought on for 6 days, I think it was, and he died 6 days later in hospital. And one of the most amazing stories I remember about it was the fact that one of the police officers who found him was trying to stop all the blood, and they ran out of medical supplies like gloves and stuff, and this woman just carried on with her bare hands, was touching his blood and, you know, trying to resuscitate him. And it was just an amazing kind of person who just instinctively didn't need any PPE, let's say, and just tried everything they could to save him. And it was a weird one, because actually afterwards it was realized that Matthew had HIV as well. It's back in the 90s, and he had HIV, and the officer never got HIV from it. I think she took medication to kind of avoid that if it was a potential risk. They knew less about it back then anyway as well. But the fact that this officer just actually discarded any need for medical supplies and protection of gloves and stuff was just amazing. And his mum, Judy Shepard, became this huge LGBT activist. She's amazing. She's just done such amazing work. She set up something called the Matthew Shepard Foundation, which if you have a Google of it and have a look at it and support it if you can. It's an absolute amazing charity, and she's done work throughout her entire life. And I was reading up about him more today, obviously because it's his anniversary, and I just thought, because he was very political, and he was he was so involved in politics. He wanted to make change, and there's a kind of weirdly happy irony that I took, or a kind of positive stance that I took from his tragic death, in the fact that he's kind of been more political than potentially he would have ever been, because his death brought about so much change and brought about so much kind of hope, I guess, in a very strange way, in making that change, and in legislation coming in to protect people who are openly gay or lesbian or whatever. And yeah, so I was thinking about it today, and I was thinking about Matthew, and I just thought, in a way, he's still to this day being political just by being him, and that's because of his family, especially his mum Judy, who has just continued his legacy, really. Yeah, and they held vigils around the world. I don't know if anyone remembers this. They held kind of vigils for Matthew, and they also, one of a tragic thing that happened, I don't know if anyone, I don't really want to give them much airtime, but the Westboro Baptist Church, on his funeral, they absolutely just got hold of this, and they're such homophobic bigots that they actually picketed at his funeral, and this was, I think, Fred Phelps, who was the leader or one of the leaders at the time, but what happened is all Matthew's friends knew that this was going to happen. They got word of the fact that this would happen, and so they organized this kind of anti-protest. And what they did to stop the protesters getting anywhere near the church is they all lined up outside the church before the protesters got there, dressed as angels, and they blocked the Westboro Baptist Church from getting anywhere near the church, so that the majority of the people who were in the church wouldn't be able to, one, see them outside, or two, see that they were anywhere near the church at the time. So it's such a sad story. Like you're all saying, Louise Kay says it's so shocking, beyond shocking. Terry says I was shocked at the time. Penny says I can't believe I've never heard of it. Yeah, Penny, I hadn't either though. It happened over in America. It was in Wyoming in America, but it did kind of make waves across the world. And And Gabrielle says, I'm raising a glass to Matthew, God rest his soul. Yeah, me too, Gabrielle. And, you know, the story, there's so much hope and you know, it sounds wrong to say, but so much light and positivity in the story when you learn about Matthew Shepard. The killers got life imprisonment. I think at least one of them did, who was the one that did it. I'll double check that. But yeah, it's there's so much good to take from it. The friends blocking the funeral, the goodness that Judy Shepard has done for his son, for her son, sorry, and for the Matthew Shepard Foundation. And yeah, so here's to Matthew. I just wanted to, because it was the anniversary today, and I won't be doing a live on Monday when it's the anniversary of his death. I actually thought it was, I wanted to signify that. So cheers, here's to Matthew. Sorry if that was a bit of a downer there, guys, but I actually think it's quite nice. It's nice to discuss, and it's nice to kind of give a tribute there. Yeah, Fairy Dust Sunshine, you're so right. His life will live on forever. And it's like that thing I was reading, like I said just now, I just thought he was so political, and there is a kind of happiness that I take from the fact that he's still being really political, and one of, you know, his death, although tragic and obviously awful, brought about such change. And, you know, I think Barack Obama brought in something called the Matthew Shepard Act, which was all about hate crime. And it really got us talking about it. And the way, and the reason that we discussed it in schools is because we said that was probably the most heinous of homophobia, like the most kind of awful example of extreme example of homophobia. But we talk in school about how saying something's gay, for example, is just a kind of really small example of it. But that scale is still there. And you can see how along the scale it just gets worse and worse. So, no, Penny, the murderers didn't get death row. And the reason is, I think the family, Matthew Shepard's family, campaigned against it because they said they don't want to take another person's life. And they actually would prefer that I think Matthew's father did a speech in court. And it was something like he said to the murderers that, I want you to have life imprisonment, and every day I want you to thank Matthew that you're still alive. And I think it was a real powerful message. So they didn't get the death penalty, but they did get life imprisonment. I think they got 2 counts of that. They actually, the murderers tried to get their girlfriends at first to provide them these false alibis. They were really trying to get out of it. And at first, they did this thing where they tried to use what they called gay defense, as if Matthew had come on to them. And it was only until it kind of unraveled more and more that actually that it was clear that they pretended to be gay. So yeah, he is, as Margaret says, the brightest star in the sky. So yeah, Louise, we never knew him, but we know about him. Yeah, exactly right. So, oh, and Laura, I didn't know that. His father apparently wore a bulletproof vest at the speech. Yeah, I mean, there were people back in those days where it was just horrendous. I can't imagine back in 1998 how scarier it must have been. But he, you know, these are the people, these are the heroes, the ones that go about change and find out, you know, and make change for people, so that they can go and live a peaceful life. And it's up to people like us to still speak out and still kind of keep his legacy going, so that we never forget it. Welcome if you've just joined. I've just I've just given a little bit of a tribute to a young man called Matthew Shepard, who was killed 22 years ago. Not to this day. It was the anniversary of his attack today, and he died on the 12th of October 1998. So if you haven't already and you're just tuning in, have a Google of Matthew Shepard after this live, and yeah, read about his life, and read about the Matthew Shepard Foundation as well, because it's an amazing foundation set up by his family, and yeah. How are we all? Anyway, let's move on to other things. Has anyone seen? I've just watched it. I'm not gonna talk too much about it because it might give a bit of a spoiler alert. It is it is going on to another slightly gruesome, awful story, but it's only on Netflix and it's just come out. Has anyone seen I think it's American Murder, The Family Next Door? Oh, it's a documentary. I've just watched it literally about an hour before I was due to do this. I sat down because I'm really rubbish at watching programs, and I watched it. Oh my God, it was horrendous, and it really fooled me. Don't be fooled by it. I thought I knew it. I do get a bit worried about Netflix sometimes, that they kind of sensationalize these documentaries, and you almost watch it like it's a film, and then halfway through you're like, oh, actually, no, that did happen. But yeah, we have kind of got to a point where we kind of, what's the word? Beautify, I guess, or romanticize these serial killer documentaries and these murder documentaries. And then you're like, oh, actually, I feel a bit bad, like using this as entertainment because it actually happened. Right, listen, not seen it says So Unique. Oh, Stacey says she cried all the way through it. Yeah, it was sad. I know. Alora says she loves murder and true crime shows. Yeah, I mean, we all kind of do. It's the way it is. It's a mystery. It's set out like a proper, a proper plot. And there's a plot. There's a suspense. Usually, it's all the makings of a drama, but it's actually. It's actually real. And the weird thing is actually about this program is, which slightly scared me a little bit, was it was pretty much taken from videos or social media posts or media that people had. So a lot of it, none of it was filmed. So it was kind of like you were watching it unfold because you were watching all videos. And I just think like, oh my God, what if I get murdered? Will these videos show up on a Netflix documentary? Who knows? He says as he's looking behind him in a window. Dragon Rose, don't you worry. I'm very well. You've not missed too much other than a very passionate speech from myself about Matthew Shepard. So go and have a watch of that. Good night, Sarah Parsons. Thank you for joining. You did say you could only stay for half an hour. I saw that beforehand. So yeah, no, and you're actually right. Her family did want the story told, and obviously it's amazing that it is. But there is a part of me sometimes where, like, you know, when you sat there and you're like, oh my God, and then you're a bit like, oh, actually, just remember that it's real life. Anywho, I don't know if any of you have seen this. I actually text Nadia this link yesterday, and. Oh, I was just enraged yesterday. Not enraged. I was enraged about life in general. Before I carry on, has the whole coronavirus affected anyone here job-wise? I just need to know that. Put it in the chat if it has. Has this affected anyone? I know it's affected a lot of people mentally. Has it affected anyone economically? Or, financially, job-wise, has it affected any of you? Fairy Dust, my son lost his job. Right, okay. Generella Cook, you're a musician, so God, yeah, it will affect you. Shelley says, no, it's not affected. Francoise, no, thank God. Penny, Penny has had to work all the way through it. Laura says she can't work her second job, unfortunately. Joe, is that Joe Wright? Was that Joe Wright's a nurse, so she's been okay. She's had security. Deborah, yeah, you were on furlough and then you were made redundant. It's a real mix. It's a real mix, and I think that's representative. I know there's only a kind of 80 of us on here currently, but I think that's representative of the country, really. It's a mix, and I think now that we're coming towards the end of furlough for employers and employees, we will start to see a shift in more people. Barbie's, you're a teaching assistant, so you've worked all the time. Yeah, so obviously my job's been affected. Musician Jenny says her job has been affected. Henrietta, you're retired. Well, good. Stacey, I feel like I shouldn't say this, but I got my dream job after 16 years. Stacey, why do you feel like you shouldn't say that? There's a real, what? I was talking to a friend the other day and they were like, oh, you know, and it was almost like they were sad to be positive and sad to be nice. Like, no one's going to turn to you, Stacey, and go, oh, how selfish. You've got your dream job after 16 years and you're talking about that. People, any normal people will be like happy for you. And I'm very happy for you, Stacey. So well done on getting your dream job after 16 years. What is it, out of interest? But I was reading this, I was watching, the reason I talk about this is I was watching a video, and if you haven't seen it, do go and watch it. It's a video on YouTube called, a YouTube channel called Unheard, but heard is spelled H-E-R-D, Unheard, and much like herd immunity. I don't think it's a play on word about that, but it's an interview with three very eminent scientists, one being from the University of Stanford, one being from Harvard, and one being from the University of Oxford. And they discuss in this video herd immunity. And honestly, over the past few months, we have got to a stage where herd immunity is this dirty word that people almost feel, the minute you say it, people go, oh, so you want loads of people to die and you want the coronavirus to rip through. And this video, I'm not going to say too much about it because go and watch it. But honestly, it emboldened me. It gave me a glimmer of hope, even though I don't think any of the politicians currently are going to do it. It was essentially saying that what we have at the minute is a real unequal lockdown, okay? Lockdown as a whole was unequal because the relatively wealthy, the middle class, were able to work from home because the majority of middle class wealthy people have jobs which can be done at home. The majority of the working class, or even a lot of older people, have public facing roles, all right? And what it was this lockdown was so unequal. People lost their jobs, and the people who were okay to work from home, who were wealthy anyway, who aren't at risk of the virus really, were unaffected. And some people are actually benefiting from lockdown, which is fine. It's not their fault. It's the government's handling of it. And this video, it's called, I think, Dissenting Scientists Sign a Declaration. But go on the Unheard channel, and this video, these scientists so coherently say that herd immunity isn't a strategy. It is a public health biological fact. Okay, it's not a strategy. No one's going, we should try this. It's what we've been doing since the beginning of time, okay, with viruses. It is herd immunity. And these scientists are saying, they're not calling it herd immunity because it's become such this kind of strange word that you're not allowed to talk about. They're calling it focused protection. And Angela, you are so right. It is too scary for the elderly and people with poor health. But what they're saying is this focused protection means that we focus on the vulnerable, and we focus on the elderly, and we focus on those who are vulnerable from a medical point of view to coronavirus. And we enable them to be shielded, protected, not locked away, but protected like they're being protected currently, but also then having more money and financial protection that we have from elsewhere that we're not squandering over protecting 30-year-olds who are really in such a low percentage of suffering from this virus terribly. We're saving money elsewhere that we can put money into protecting them. We can put money into care homes, into testing more, into actually testing the whole of these people who are vulnerable to COVID, while the rest of society who aren't that vulnerable at all can go about and open up society, build herd immunity, and at the same time keep the economy moving and stop mental health issues that are rising because of it. Depression, unemployment, any of this, it was such a coherent thing. And it's like, for me, the government at the minute have committed to this strategy, and they're just so afraid to say that it's completely wrong. It's a bit like HS2. They invested billions in it, and they've gone, well, it's a bit shit, really, but we've invested a couple of billion in it, so we may as well invest another 6 billion, or whatever the figures are. It's ridiculous, because at the minute, and this is what I don't think people realise at the minute, what we're doing is pretty much herd immunity. This is a complete fake, performative lockdown, in my opinion. And it's completely ridiculous. But what's going to happen is you won't be able to hug your grandma for 6 months or indefinitely. And what these scientists are saying, if we have this focused protection now, we could probably build up this immunity. They're confident that it would be 3 months. But they're given nothing. And people, even a lot of people on my Twitter who I'm good friends with, a lot of people who are left-leaning, which I identify politically as well. Oh, you can't say that. You can't go and kill them off. And it's like you get called a murderer or whatever because you dare to suggest that herd immunity, this biological fact that has been around for so long, you dare to suggest that that might be a better way of dealing with it. We are however many months now into this ridiculous situation, and it isn't getting any better, and things are getting worse, because what we're doing at the minute is going COVID, 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 and we're ignoring everything else. Public health isn't about one thing. It is about everything. Oh, breathe, 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 breathe. Selena, I'm working from home, but I'm certainly not well off. I live on my own and feel quite isolated, really. Not good for my mental health. Yeah, Selena, and what I want to say is, when I say things like the majority of the middle class work from home, and if you're working from home, I'm not saying like it's everyone, but statistically, this is very unfair in terms of most people who are quite wealthy and in those middle class roles can work from home. Of course, there are some that slip through the net. What I would say is I had quite a wealthy job. I was quite lucky in what I did, and obviously I can't work from home doing it. So of course, there are some exceptions to the rule, but generally, making such a generalization, that is something. But Selena, I'm so sorry to hear that. It's awful, and I do feel for so many people for who are just kind of struggling so much. The government do seem to commit to ideas, says Nicola Randall, that when they should be looking at other approaches. Yeah, and do you know why they won't, Nicola Randall? Because we have this identity politics. We have this absolutely kind of awful thing now in the world, I guess. Not the world, because I don't know about everyone, but certainly in the UK, this identity politics. And we treat political parties like football teams. And it's like we have this unwavering devotion where we almost can't criticize them, because it's like, oh, if their performance aren't good, well, we still love you, because there's no way we could identify with the other party, because by criticizing the party or by criticizing the actions, it's almost like you're saying, oh, well, not them then. And it's such factions. It's so frustrating, Nicola. You're right. It's so frustrating. Yeah, it's awful. And also, you know what? People who are working from home, a lot of them don't want to work from home. So yeah, financially, they might be okay. They might be fine. They're coping. They don't want to be doing it. It's not good. It's not good for their health. It's not good for the mental health. And people go, like in the war, this, you know, you can do it for 6 months. You've got Netflix and all that. It's irrelevant. It's such a stupid, irrelevant example. It really annoys me when people say that, because it's like, this is not, it's all relative. Everything is relative. You can't, that is like saying to someone, oh, you've broke your leg. Well, grow up. You could be worse. You could have been born with no legs. And it's like, what? It's such a random, stupid way of looking at things. Richard Miller, you make good points, Lee. However, other countries appear to be taking the same approach as the UK, although Sweden has done things differently. Yeah, Richard, and do you know what? This actually declaration wasn't just talking about the UK. So a lot of what I've just said there as well is not just random stuff that I've made up off the top of my head. It's stuff that I've looked into, and these scientists, have a look. It's really interesting. And again, it could be wrong. It could be totally wrong. But I'm kind of in that stage where it's like, well, what we're doing right now doesn't seem to be bloody working. And actually, it seems to be more detrimental. It seems to have such a catastrophic effect on people. Where are we heading? What are we doing? It still seems very odd. What do you guys think? Sorry, I've just gone on. At the start of this, I was like, I'm not going to go into it too much. You should just watch the video. And I've just gone on a rampage, a barrage of it. Louise says, the question is, can you actually control a virus? It is debatable. Yeah, and I guess the argument that these scientists have is that we've been controlling them for quite some time. And the way to control it is herd immunity. And what we're doing at the minute is we're doing this kind of slowed down herd immunity. We're eventually going to get herd immunity. What they're saying is if we focus the protection, we'll get there quicker. It's a really interesting, and it's only half an hour long. So go and have a watch of it. In fact, you know what I'm going to do for anyone watching this back? At the end of this video, I will put the link to that video and you can go and watch it. And please let me know in the comments below what you thought of it. Whether you disagreed or not. You might disagree. You might think, you know, it's so interesting because it's such a topic that it feels like you're not allowed to discuss. And actually, I'm discussing it. I actually posted a tweet about it yesterday, and I felt weirdly a bit nervous about it because I thought, will people think that I just want to go and kill a load of people because I'm advocating for herd immunity? And it's not that at all. That's not what they're saying. They think they can save more lives in the long run by this tactic. So I'm really interested to hear your thoughts. Whether you think it's a load of poppycock, which is a word I can't think I've ever said in my entire life, or whether you actually agree. For me, I loved it. I'm not saying it's the right way, but maybe it is. But again, I'm not shutting down discussion, which people can have a habit of doing quite a lot. I told a story in April. I was on Zoom, as we all were, and I had a bit of an argument because I was talking about herd immunity for quite some months, and I had an argument with a friend on Zoom, and they were talking about. He works over in TV as well, and he said that they had this scientist on talking about it. And I'd said I was watching a video of a couple of scientists saying something else, and we were arguing our points. And he was saying, oh, and in the end, he said to me, he said, well, no offense, Lee, but I think I'd rather take the opinion of a BBC scientist than you. And I was like, afterwards, it kind of stuck with me for quite some time, because I was thinking, does he think that these are my theories, that I have sat in my makeshift scientist office and gone, How do I, leap here, without any prior knowledge, think we can defeat this virus? And what's happened is all I've done is listened to other scientists and gone, actually, I'm going to listen to them. And all he's done is listened to a scientist that he's listened to. It was the strangest kind of way of shutting down a conversation, because he was essentially saying, I'm not going to listen to you and what you are saying a scientist has said, because I'm telling you what the scientist that I've chosen is right has said. It's just so odd. It's just so odd. Laura Lawler says, Lee, I'm only 41, I'm shielding, but it's so hard. I feel like herd immunity is happening now. It's just not announced. Yeah, that's what they say in this. It's like, we're having herd immunity. And they say if this protected, this focused protection herd immunity will also allow people that if they don't want to go out, then don't go out. It's your choice, okay? If you do want to work from home, don't work from home. They suggest this thing where they use the money that they've saved on protecting jobs for 30-year-olds when they don't need to because they're not vulnerable to it. Using the money there to, you know, if a 60-year-old bus driver, for example, is vulnerable, then paying them a sabbatical to go off work and using those resources. It's honestly, go and have a watch of it. It's fascinating. It really kind of gave me this, well, it kind of gave me hope for about 5 minutes, and then I realized that the government are probably never going to do anything about this. So Paigey says, you still doing vlogs, Lee? Love seeing your vlogs. Yes, I'm going to try. Watch that space. Kate said next time she's home, she wants to do a vlog on like Cleethorpes Beach and stuff, because we did one about Humberston. Richard Miller, the point about scientific theories is that scientists debate them from different standpoints to develop understanding. Yes, Richard Miller, you are so right. And what I'm saying is I'm in this realm of debating where I'm like, you know, I think that's true, but others are on this realm. But what happens a lot of the time is people go, you're wrong, and the fact that you're wrong means that you want a load of vulnerable people to die from COVID. And it's like, that's completely irresponsible, like, to say. It just shuts down any form of reasoned debate and reasonable discussion. Anyway, sorry, I realise this has been a bit more of a serious live because I'm just totally, I try not to talk too much about COVID, but you can't not. Francoise says, I haven't watched the news in ages. It's so depressing at the moment. Henrietta, but look at the universities. This is rampaging through them. Yeah, Henrietta, and this is what they say. This is what they say. Of course it's rampaging through them. It's a virus. Like, it's not gonna not. That's what they say in the video. It is a virus. This virus, no matter how much you try and slow it down, it is not going away. And they're saying the fact that it's rampaging through the universities is good in a way, because it's building herd immunity. Much like Sir Patrick Ballant said right at the start of this, that you need a degree of herd immunity, and they want to build that herd immunity. Obviously, you're not going to then go and see your elderly grandparents or anything like that. But if this focused protection strategy was in place, it would mean that while it's rampaging through universities and they're building herd immunity, what will then happen is these people that are vulnerable to it will be shielded enough that they won't come into contact with that. Sarah Fox says, it gets to you. One day you can cope, the next day you feel totally bulldozed by it. Yeah, you're so right. Sending love to Sarah. Let's all send some hearts to Sarah. I can't. Oh, I can type a comment. Oh, I can't do an emoji on here. I'll just say sending love. There you go. Is that posted? Oh, yeah. Oh, look. I keep doing this wrong. It's my own post. Joe Wright, stress eating gummy bears. I'm so sorry, Joe Wright. I pushed her into stress eating gummy bears. That is a lot, Joe Wright. I'm so sorry. Although, actually, you should be thanking me because gummy bears are gorgeous. I love gummy bears. Hey, Rachel Marsh, sorry. How are you doing? Laura, I'm going back Friday. I'm a teacher. I'm clinically extremely vulnerable. Shitting it. I think keep all shielders at home. No choice. Laura, go and watch the video. Their proposal would mean that you would be at home, paid, and other people, and that's a more equal way of doing it. The biggest equal way of doing it is not having everyone shut down, which means we create this inequality where pretty much the rich get richer and the poor working class get poorer. Because a lot of low-paid jobs are public-facing, not all of them, of course, but are public-facing, and they're people like cleaners, like bus drivers, like taxi drivers, like I'm trying to think what else, like supermarket workers. It baffles me that these are the people that are still working throughout, yet this lockdown that we've had of office workers and finance directors and everything else where you can work from home, they've just carried on as normal. And if anything, some of them have completely benefited. It's yeah. Don't be sorry about tonight, Stacey. Margaret's having a bag of Revels. Selena Lou Fogley, I love your passion. Steph has gone for sour skittles. I love the fact that everyone's eating sweets while I'm talking. Is it like some sort of film? Everyone's sat in the cinema. The good thing is, I guess, about you all watching individually is you're not making any rustling noise. Yeah, Laura says, I will watch it. I have a young son. I choose to stay safe so he can go out and live. Dawn, welcome, Dawn. Dawn's British, living in Wisconsin. Oh, sorry, that scrolled up there. I'm so sorry. Oh, Stacey, bless you. That is so kind that you sent that. Stacey, you send way too much love. Please, that's so kind of you. But you're super generous, and I can't thank you enough. But honestly, you don't need to do that. I do this just because it's nice to have the company, but that is very kind. So I'm not very good at accepting that. Do you ever have that thing where someone offers? I'm getting better at this, but when sometimes you're out for drinks with a friend and they'll go, "I'm getting this," and you're like, "No, no, no," and I've got to that point where it almost comes across as a bit rude the more you say no. So I'm trying to be like gracious and thankful when someone like Stacey has been so generous there. But yeah, excuse me. I was out with Denise Welsh once, name drop, clang, and she was like, we were arguing over the fact that she couldn't buy me a gin and tonic, and it got to a point where it was almost coming across from my point of view quite rude, because she genuinely was like, I want to buy you this drink, please let me. And I was going, no, and it was like this pathetic argument we had, which was unnecessary. Chrissy says, random question, but have you got a middle name? If I do, I'm not saying whether I do or not, what do you think it is? Have a guess. Dawn's eating a KFC. Laura Lawler, will you dress up for us Halloween live? I'm not making any promises on that, Laura Lawler. I'm not making any promises. Louise K is resisting a chunky Kit Kat. Francoise, Halloween will definitely be cancelled this year. Sarah's had a few shortbread biscuits. Joe Wright, when she visits the UK, she fills them with Revels. Oh, can you not get Revels where you are, Joe Wright? Not too bothered about Revels myself. Yeah, I'm not. So someone thinks it's Richard, someone says John, someone says Stephen, someone says James. No, Weird Arnold. I like the name Arnold. These names are these names are quite good because I sometimes like to think of names for potential kids if I have kids in the future, which would involve me actually having a partner and actually starting a family. I should probably work on that whole finding a partner first before I'm planning kids, but I do like them. No, I like Reginald though, says Total Storm Addict. I don't actually have a middle name, so sorry. Waste of all your time there typing there. I have no middle name. None of my family do. Well, my niece has a middle name, but none of my immediate family do. So Unique, I did want to have kids. Yeah, I do. I really do. So one day. Joe Wright doesn't have a middle name either. We're kindred spirits, Joe Wright. Listen, I would love for you all to go and check out stuff about Matthew Shepard if you can. Check out the Matthew Shepard Foundation. Check out just his story and think of him on Monday, because Monday the 12th, I believe, is the anniversary of his death. And oh, thanks guys, you're all saying I would make a great dad. That's very, very kind. Sharon says she named one of her sons Jason after Jason Donovan. Oh, very good. Raspberry Mojito Girl doesn't. Chrissy's saying, where's Xander? I don't know where Xander is. He's probably, I don't know. Is that, are you asking me that? I have no idea, but I'm sure maybe he'll watch this back. So hi Xander if you do. But yeah, so please do go and check out the Matthew Shepard Foundation because that would be lovely. Oh, Joe Wright. You topped up the gin fund last time. Thank you very much, Joe Wright. You're very kind. Cheers. Selena, I love your company on here. You guys really help. Thank you for this lovely, lively, awesome as always, says Kaz Seddon. I went to say Snedden then, like David Snedden. Oh, happy birthday to your son tomorrow, so Unique. Listen, guys, if you do like this, thank you, firstly. Secondly, I know it's been an hour, Laura. I'm so sorry that's gone so quick, though, hasn't it? Has that just gone really quick? Helen, thank you. It was your first. Well, do come back for more. Every Tuesday night, I'm going to be doing lives, and it's going to be a mix of topics. It was a little bit more serious today. Sometimes it'll be lighter. Sometimes it'll be a crock of shit that I'll talk about, and I don't even know where it'll come from. But you guys, a lot of the time, can direct the chat and direct the topics. So please do, if you haven't already, if you're watching this back on the first time, please do subscribe using the little box there. You can see my little face. Please do subscribe. Give it one of those thumbs up, which tells YouTube that it's great, or it's good at least, and it pushes it out to more people. And yeah, please do come back for more. It's really nice to have your company. It's really nice to do one of those things because, especially because Nadia's and Mark's helped migrate a lot of people here. But when you have 100 odd people watching, it kind of validates you talking to a camera, because it's like there's actually people here and there's actually people who care. So I do appreciate that. I think if I was properly starting and hadn't got the springboard, which so many YouTubers do, I'd probably be talking to like 3 people, which would be lovely. But when you just be a bit like, and I remember going on to someone's live once, and they were doing a live chat. I think it was on Facebook, and no, it was on Instagram, and it just said one person there, and it was me, and I didn't want to leave because I was like, oh no, if I leave, no one will be watching. So I very much appreciate you all being here and sticking with me, and then even to people who are watching this back who aren't here live, thank you for watching this back. I'm gonna play out the thing, but do you know what I like to do now? I don't know if you noticed in the last one, I'm gonna put up some of your comments on the closing screen. Sally, I will update you on the refresher driving lessons. I don't have one tomorrow, but I have one the week after because my instructor is on holiday. I think he's probably going on like a relaxation retreat after last week's. Yes. Amber says, great live, look forward to more. Night all night, Richard Miller. Thank you, Kim. I will do other lives throughout the week, but Tuesday is like the rock solid one. So put it in your diaries. Tuesday, live at 9. Oh, it could be called Live at 9. And yeah, Polly, you just got here. Well, sorry, Polly. But I tell you what, you can just go and rewatch it. It's like watching it on +1, or you can watch it whenever you want. Take care. I'm going to put, I just screamed in it, take care. I'm going to put your comments on the screen now and play it out. But thanks for joining, and we'll see you soon. Bye.